In the great outdoors, not everything green is good. Some plants can turn a peaceful walk into a painful problem. So this morning, we've paged Dr. Paul to help us weed out the facts on what you should be watching for and what to do if you brush up against something that's dangerous. Good morning, Dr. Paul.
Good morning.
Fantastic to have us here with you.
Yes.
So we're going to start this morning with poison ivy.
Yeah.
This is, I think, something that people are well aware of, but what is it and what do you do if you encounter it?
Well, basically it's a weed and it's a vine. It can grow long, but we find it everywhere. Interestingly, in Canada, it's everywhere except Newfoundland. So I guess it's the climate. So the important thing about this is that it is everywhere. It is actually 3 leaves on a stem, so that's how you can tell what it is. If you get in contact with it, obviously the sap is very toxic, and that's what it is. So you can put it on your skin, and 24 hours later, you'll have red rash, itchy rash, and that will sometimes, we've seen kids come to the emergency room all over their body, and you need to treat it at home with, wash it off, calamine lotion, and sometimes we need to give antihistamines, and sometimes we need to give even stronger medications. So the best approach is know what it is and prevent it as much as possible. Interestingly, goats can eat these, no problem.
Really?
Yeah, and the other thing too is when you see them and want to get rid of them, do not burn them. That's the other thing, because people tend to pull them out and put them in, with leaves and burn them. The toxin becomes very toxic in terms of fumes.
And you can inhale that smell.
Yes, so that's very important.
Okay, next up,
now we've got
I'm also familiar with this guy, Dr. Paul, because I live in fear of this every time I take the dogs out for a hike. This is pretty rampant, or it has been pretty rampant in past summers in the Ottawa area. What is it?
It has been. It's a wild plant. These are called parasitic plants. In other words, they go and they actually are in fields and all over the place, meadows, wherever it's abandoned. And the 2 things that they can do, number 1 is that they kind of take over other plants, and it's not good for the overall vegetation. But secondly, what they do is they have a sap in them. They grow up to about a meter and a half tall. They have a sap in them, and if you get in contact with that sap, basically it reacts with the sun. So 24, 48 hours later, you'll have blisters. It's actually burning the skin.
That's what really scares me, and I think that people aren't aware of, is that you may not notice it at first.
Exactly.
So if you're to touch your face, if you're to touch your eye, touch someone else, you could be spreading this around and you may not know it.
Exactly. So there are ways to get rid of this, but you need to be very careful. Go online and find out. You need to wear gloves and be very careful to remove these. In fact, Ottawa had these a couple of weeks ago. I remember in my area as well, we're spraying for these because they're quite toxic. And so it's important just to be aware. And again, this too, do not burn it.
Do not burn it. Okay. And finally, this I've never heard before, so I'm about to learn with you. Giant hogweed.
I had never heard of this before either. About 10, 12 years ago, we got some calls from the emergency room in my area, and they were telling us that these kids came in with burns in their eyes and burns all over, and they had played with this big plant. And we did some investigations, and it was the giant hogweed. Giant hogweed, again, is a relative to the parsnip, to the wild parsnip. It's actually part of the carrot family, and it can grow to 5 meters tall. That's why it's called giant hogweed. So just like the wild parsnip, the hogweed sap is quite toxic. So if you get in contact with it, put it in your eye, you can actually cause blindness or temporary loss of vision. And it can cause blisters, burning, and really, really bad things. And in fact, we got called by the emergency room telling us that some kids showed up with these things. And that we actually issued a press release about 10, 12 years ago. So that's how I became familiar with it. And again, we see it everywhere in southern and eastern Ontario. So it's just be aware. And again, this as well requires, if you have it in your property or around you, you need to wear protective gloves, mask, all these things. And there are ways to do it, herbicides, mechanical ways to get rid of it. And again, do not burn it.
Yeah, okay, I'm just picturing somebody going out to their garden wearing like almost a full hazmat suit, trying to get rid of these things, but better to be safe than sorry, am I right?
Actually, it's true. When you hire professionals to do this, when the city does it, they have to wear very, very protective equipment, protect their eyes, protect their, wear gloves and so on. And also be very careful when you take it out. Make sure that you carry and you clean the area, because the seeds are there, they spread everywhere. So these are very wild and dangerous, not only to humans, but also to animals, but also to the ecology as well.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paul.
My pleasure.
Be safe out there.